I've got no idea how successful this is going to be. I might have to sit and hold it like that. I don't know, that's balanced. Let's stay in there. Okay, so we've just been to see A Quiet Place Part 2, which I enjoyed a lot. The thing I like about the Quiet Place films is the quiet. I think they have to be a little cleverer. There was a brilliant bit where I noticed he was sat like this, and I thought he was really tense, and I went, "You okay?" And he went, "Yeah, I'm just waiting for a noisier bit to eat my nacho," which I just thought was really funny, because that's normally me. I remember doing that in the first one, like really quietly trying to eat nachos, which is why I had M&Ms this time around. So yeah, are we doing this with spoilers? So with spoilers, yeah. So if you're trying to stay spoiler free and haven't seen the movie, now is the time to look away. As we go around the corner. Back. I'm gonna have to edit these. Fell over on a corner, so I'm just gonna have to put a finger there to hold that.
The joy of live television, people.
Yeah, the joy of being in your car, so we haven't got the holder.
Well, you're gonna grab it from yours.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. It's a lovely day.
It's a gorgeous day.
Look, have a look at Newport. There's the Transporter Bridge. There's a taxi. There's the road ahead. There's the road behind.
And that's the road less traveled.
Yeah. So there we go. So yes, I liked that a lot. It was as we were walking out, I heard someone as I was walking into the toilets. I heard someone say, "Oh, it's just more of the same, samey." And I was like, "Well, it's a fairly limited premise. What were you thinking was going to happen? Was it going to turn into Independence Day? No, it wasn't. Was it going to suddenly turn into Nomadland? No. Was it suddenly going to become some big weird? They become animated characters in a Pixar-esque rom? No, it was always just going to be the same thing, wasn't it? And there's kind of a extended pre-credit sequence just as an excuse to get John Kay back in it again. I can't say his last name, I can't remember it in full. Krasinski. Fit John with the beard, who's genuinely married to Emily Blunt and would make an amazing Will Riker if they did an update on Next Generation. That John. So just to crowbar him back into it.
Also known as Krasinski.
That's what some people call him.
Including himself?
Including himself, just what I call him, clearly. Yes, yeah, so
I just call him Yes Please.
Yes, I do. And anyways, yeah, to crowbar him in, they go back to day one and show you how this thing all came about, which was a nice to see, but I don't think it added anything.
I think they basically just Cloverfielded it. Yeah,
pretty much. Actually, they're not dissimilar aliens to Cloverfield, they're just considerably smaller. So then it more or less goes to the final frame of the first film and picks up from there, really. Interestingly, Cillian Murphy is very briefly in the prequel bit. And I said to Paul, well, he's clearly coming back for the main part of the film, isn't he? Because you wouldn't have a name like him in for about 3 lines.
Well, you say that, but look at the other name that was in it for about 3 lines, as it turned out.
Do you mean the dude from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, Chiwetel Ejiofor.
No, I didn't spot him in it at all. You talking about the guy that owns the radio station?
Well, the black guy, yeah.
That wasn't him.
Oh no, Chiwetel Ejiofor was the. Actually, I'm sorry.
I don't think he's in this film at all. This guy he's in the Marvel films.
Yeah, as part Kree.
Yeah, with the blue contacts.
Yeah, I'm sure that's Chiwetel Ejiofor.
It's not. No, it's not him. It's definitely not him. Because he's in the Marvel films in the Doctor Strange stuff, not in the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. Oh yes,
because he's Mordo, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking? What's his name?
I don't know his name, but straight away I knew his face from.
But that's who I meant.
From the Marvel guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's not. I wouldn't say he's as big as Cillian, to be fair.
I wouldn't say Cillian's that big.
No. Yeah, I would. Yeah, well, maybe not so much these days. I mean, he had a much smaller part in. Was it a Spider-Man movie that then never went anywhere because they dropped the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films? I want to say that's a thing. Anyway.
Well, he was was it Scarecrow in one of the Batman?
He was Scarecrow in Batman Begins, yeah. I'm fairly certain he was Norman Osborn's son in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man's.
So I remember, which tells you how much I remember about the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man's.
Yeah. What's the one that's got the terrible sequence of the cranes at the end? Is that one of his, or is that one of Tobey Maguire's?
I think that's the Venom one, isn't it?
Is that Batman 3?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, probably why I don't remember it that well, because it was terrible. Anyway, we went to Quiet Place. Yeah, it was good. It was kind of... it is exactly more of the same. They're very well made. It's I find, because it's so quiet and because they're all constantly on edge, it's just a very tense experience to watch that film. The whole time you're just constantly on edge, because you know that at some point they're going to make a sound for the aliens to show up, otherwise the film gets boring very quickly. At one point I also thought they were going to kill the baby, and I thought, fuck me, that's brave. There's not a lot of films outside of horror that will kill a baby.
Well, I think it is technically a horror film.
I suppose so, yeah, but I mean like, out and out, even then, out and out, like
18 rated schlock fest.
Yeah, you're full on slasher, Freddy Krueger-y, Conjuring-y shite. Do you know what I mean? It's so yeah. It's good. It's good fun. It's if you like the first one, you'll like this. Don't expect any massive surprises, I'd say. And halfway through the first one, I do remember saying they could just do the Mars Attacks ending, where they just broadcast the music out through a radio station and blow all their heads up, which is pretty much the ending you get here. You don't quite see them go that far, but it's very much implied that's what they're going to do to save the world. But the thing that got me was, in the final sequence, when you've got the boy with the radio and the gun and the girl in the radio station, first of all I was thinking, I really hope their batteries last. And then the second thing I was thinking was, why are they taking so long to just kill it?
Yeah.
It was really drawn out to the point where I just thought, I've drawn it out too long, I'm bored now. With your slowly walking towards it, holding out your weapon of choice, and simultaneously happening in two locations, blah 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 blah. It just all got a bit for the sake of the film rather than for the sake of the plot. So that's a thing to look out for. Did you have any thoughts?
I think you pretty much covered it. It was very much, as I say, more of the same, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because the first one was a very well put together thing. I think because obviously it is very much about sort of noise and it does do a lot of playing around with sort of audio scoring that a lot of movies obviously don't, because it's kind of built that into the premise, which I think, like you mentioned at the beginning, does make for some. Well, it makes you realise just how much you rely on audio cues in a lot of movies for stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I think probably sort of drove the filmmakers as well to kind of be less obvious with stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it literally Quiet Place 2 is more of the same. But given how good the first one was, I'd say that's not a bad thing. But don't go in there expecting major revelations.
Yeah. I think also if this makes enough money, because let's face it, money decides whether there's a sequel rather than any kind of need for a story or plot. So if they decide this has made enough money after being delayed for a year to make a third one, I think they probably need to change up the premise a little bit, because I don't think going back to the same well would be rewarding.
No.
So you'd have to. I mean, they kind of hint at what people have become. We've become kind of quite savage.
Yeah, I must admit that bit didn't make much sense to me, because literally they're heading towards an island, and these are people with boats and
who haven't bothered going to the island.
Yeah, and instead of just gone feral.
Just gone feral and rapey.
Yeah.
Child rapey at that. Yeah, it was a bit. It was contrived. Yeah, but it was. I was about to say it was a way to get the thing across to the island, but actually you could have still done that without them easily.
True.
So there we are. Quiet Place 2. Definitely worth a look if you like the first one. If you didn't like the first one, really don't bother. Yeah.